So, what if your AI assistant could do more than just spit back facts it was trained on? What if it could actually think? Well, today we're diving into a project that's building an AI that does exactly that. It actually strategizes before it gives you an answer. It's pretty cool, so let's break down how it all works. And that really gets to the core question here. Imagine an AI that isn't just stuck with a single book. Instead, picture it like a master researcher. When you ask it something, it doesn't just give you a canned response. It stops, it thinks, and it decides on the spot. For this, should I check my internal encyclopedia? Or maybe I need to search the live web for today's news. Or wait, I remember we talked about this before. Let me pull that from my memory. That's the leap we're talking about. Now, to really get why that choice is such a game changer, we have to talk about a huge challenge that pretty much all major AI systems face. It's what we call the knowledge problem. And it's the main reason your super smart AI assistant can sometimes feel, well, completely clueless about anything recent. The best way to think about it is like this. A standard large language model, or LLM, is basically trained on this giant but totally static snapshot of the internet. It's like a brilliant librarian who's in charge of a massive library, but every single book in that library was printed before, say, 2023. They can tell you anything you want to know about World War II in incredible detail, but if you ask them who won the big game last night or what the stock market did this morning, they've got nothing. So how do we fix that? Well, this is where the whole concept of agents comes into the picture. The idea is to transform our AI from that static, dusty library into a dynamic, active researcher. We want an agent that can actually go out into the world and find the information it needs right when it needs it, right? Okay, so the first piece of this puzzle is a technology called Retrieval Augmented Generation. You'll hear it called RAG for short. At its core, RAG is the tech that lets us connect an AI to an external knowledge source. It's the plumbing that gives it access to information that wasn't part of its original training. Now, let's add the second, and honestly, the most crucial ingredient, making that AI agentic. This is where the magic really happens. See, an agent doesn't just passively wait for you to feed it information. It can actually reason about a problem, create a multi-step plan to solve it, and then decide which tools it needs to use to get the job done. It's proactive, not just reactive. And this is where it all comes together. With standard RAG, it's kind of like following a strict, fixed recipe. If a user asks a question, the rule is always look in database A. End of story. But agentic RAG, it's like a master chef. It looks at your request and thinks, okay, what's the best way to tackle this? Should it check the pantry? That's its internal knowledge. Or does it need to go to the market for fresh ingredients with a web search? Or maybe it should pull out a trusted old recipe from its memory. That means it can handle a really complex question, something like, what were the biggest EV market trends last quarter and how do they stack up against our company's internal sales data? It knows it needs to do two things: search the web for the trends and query the private database for the sales report, and then bring it all together for one synthesized answer. So how does this actually work under the hood? Let's take a look inside this Agentic RAG project to really see the anatomy of its decision-making process. This flow is where the AI's intelligence truly comes to life. So this is basically the agent's thought process. It all starts with planning, where it tries to figure out what you really want to know. Then comes the most important step, dynamic source selection. This is where it chooses its tool. Is the answer in the knowledge base, in my long-term memory, or do I need to hit the web? After it grabs the info in the retrieval step, it does something really smart, a relevancy check. It basically asks itself, is this information actually helpful, or is it just noise? Only after it's confident does it move on to generate the answer and, crucially, save the whole conversation to its memory for next time. And this quote from the project's own documentation just nails it. The big breakthrough here isn't just about having access to different sources of information. It's the intelligence to reason about them and dynamically switch between them on the fly. That ability to choose, that's the real game changer. All right, for all the tech folks and developers watching, let's quickly peek at the toolbox. Because this isn't just magic, right? It's a really clever combination of powerful open source technologies all working in concert. So what we're looking at here is the whole stack. LangGraph is kind of like the brain, the conductor of the orchestra, orchestrating that whole reasoning flow we just saw. Qdrant is the specialized library, the high-speed vector database. Mem0 gives it that personalized long-term memory. Tavly AI is its real-time window out to the web. And it's all powered by a super-fast LLM running on Grok and served up with fast API. It's a very modern, very powerful setup. Okay, so we've seen the how, but let's talk about the why. Why does any of this actually matter? What are the real-world tangible benefits you get when an AI can actually think for itself about how to find an answer? Well, the benefits are huge and they're pretty immediate. First off, you get way more accurate answers because the AI is picking the right tool for the job instead of just guessing or making stuff up. Second, it has access to real-time data. You can ask it about things that happened 5 minutes ago. Third, the interactions become deeply personalized because it actually remembers your past conversations and builds context. And finally, it can handle seriously complex questions because that planning step lets it break a big problem down into smaller, manageable pieces. And that really gets to the heart of it. This is a fundamental shift in how we think about AI. We're moving beyond just simple information retrieval. We're now in the realm of information strategy. The real intelligence isn't just in the final answer, it's in the process of figuring out how to get there. Which, leaves us with a pretty exciting thought to end on. Once our AIs can truly and reliably reason about how to find information, what new kinds of problems are we going to be able to solve? The possibilities are just starting to open up. Thanks so much for tuning in.